Welcome back to the Tarot Cottage. My name is Amy. I'm here with a pick a card reading for you as always. Today's pick a card topic is about a person on your mind, and do they ever think about you? And if they do, what are some of these secret thoughts that they are having? Now, this can be a person that you are currently seeing. This could be someone that is in no contact or someone that you're really crushing on. Whoever this person is in your mind, all you have to do is really concentrate on this person before you choose your pile. And we do have 3 piles to choose from today. Pile number 1 with the Empress and the purple flower. Pile number 2 with the red flower and the Fool. And pile number 3 with the pink flower and the Justice. And this is the Alice in Wonderland Tarot that I'm using for you today. And I want to take a moment to welcome back my beautiful returning subscribers. Thank you guys so much for being here. To all of my new subscribers this month, I really appreciate your presence here on this channel. And as a thank you to my subscribers, I do offer a chance to win a free reading with me. And all you have to do is drop your comment below any reading this month for your chance to win. I am still waiting back to hear from my most recent winner, so be sure to check your notification bell if you have left me a comment and hit your notification bell. There may be a message waiting from me, so be sure to check that. For anybody new coming into the channel for the very first time, please pull up a chair and get cozy, because we're all friends when we gather around my table. So we're just gonna have a little chat today. That's all we're here to do. I do pick a card readings on this channel, and I try to release a couple of times a week. So if you have any topic suggestions that you have and you would like to see covered by the Tarot Cottage, be sure to drop them below as well. But pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, today's topic is all about this person on your mind, and do you ever cross their mind? Do they ever think about you? And if they do, what are some of these secret thoughts? Pile 1. Hello, pile number 1. You were drawn to the purple flower, and you were drawn to the beautiful Empress energy, and this is your reading. Do you ever cross the mind of the person on your mind? And what do they think if you do? Now, the Empress here is all about abundance. She is the most abundant card in the deck, and you're even drawn to the purple flower, which is about sovereignty and stating your sovereignty, straightening your crown. With the Alice in Wonderland energy, she's a little bit intimidating. She has a little bit of a temper. She was intimidating to approach. And so there's an aspect here about the impression that you left, or the impression that you leave, and how they could be intimidating or be intimidated by you. And this could be giving a very different impression to you, because you may not be embodying this power. You may be feeling very limited, even though this is actually who you are, abundance manifested. But the intimidation that they feel may make them retreat from you, or make them not speak their truth around you in some way. So let's take a look here. And that is not in any way Spirit telling you that you have to, dim your light in any way at all. I'm going to use the Anatomy Tarot for you today to start. Do you ever cross the mind of the person on your mind? Do they ever think of you? And if so, what are some of their secret thoughts? We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the Four of Wands, the Four of Rods. It's coming out sideways, so we're going to leave it like that. We have the Moon. We also have the Seven of Pentacles. They're really speaking about this connection in terms of a long-standing connection, or something that has been spanning a few years for someone watching. And we also have the Tower coming out. Back of the deck, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And what you'll notice is that I'm really focused here on the purple flowers, purple flowers, purple flowers. You were drawn to the purple flower, and I feel like this isn't an accident, because they are speaking about empowerment, that empowerment in this connection that was perhaps misused in some way, because they're speaking here about 2 vulnerable hearts. One is in purple, one is in yellow, 2 vulnerable hearts. And this Ten of Swords as well, in relation to the person on your mind, the aces, the swords in general, are all about our mind, all about our thoughts and what's controlling them. And we don't just arrive at the Ten of Swords. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes rumination. We have to go through all of those stages of the Ace, the 2, the 3, the 8 of Swords, restrictive thought, the 9 of Swords, overthinking, just to achieve this position. So there is something about the profound impact actually that these thoughts have had on your person. So not only do you cross their mind, you cross their mind too much, almost to the point where it's limiting them in some way. They are speaking about investments in this connection. So again, I feel like there's been a passage of time here because they're talking about impatience. To feel better, to feel more empowered by this connection. It's like they thought that it would be easier to walk away or to not apply any force to this connection. And that's not exactly what they've found here. And it doesn't feel like the two of you are in complete direct contact right now. The truth is that I just heard loyalty to that focus. So they're very loyal to some thoughts of you. So there's consistency here. So not only do you cross their minds, it's like an open highway. It's not a crossroads. It's like an open highway. We have the Queen of Pentacles and we have the Six of Pentacles. And they can't help but sort of hold space for you. They are saying that the Divine Feminine here may be a part of a karmic relationship. Or may have moved on into another realm. So please take that as it resonates. They're also saying that they kind of put you on a pedestal in the past and they felt that you were too good for them. They may have gotten this impression that you may have felt like you were too good for them. But again, I don't think that was your intention. I think it's just the presence of you. There's something very beautiful and attractive about the Empress, about the Queen of Pentacles, but they just felt like they were not enough in the past. And they're going over that, like they're still struggling with that, about not feeling good enough and sort of settling for second best, perhaps in a lot of ways. But what they don't realize, I feel like, is the truth underneath your sort of mask that you wear. And we all wear masks in the world. It's like the mask that you wear of this confidence and independence. There is still insecurity inside of you that they weren't seeing. That the two of you were very closely aligned to how you were feeling in the past. Justice. Eight of Swords. Six of Wands. They are claiming that in the past they were afraid to look bad or they were afraid to take their mask off. And that sort of started to become the foundation of the connection in the past. And nothing has really changed for this person. This Four of Wands, the opportunity that they felt like was available to the two of you, I don't necessarily feel like it's completely open. I don't think the doorway is open anymore, or there's obstacles within that doorway. We also have the Page of Swords, and they are speaking about the two of you perhaps having gone to school together. You may have gone to the same school. And they're also speaking about watching you, which is why they could have privy information as to what sort of cycle you have invested in at this moment. Because they are speaking about delays, not wanting to create havoc, not wanting to create upheaval in anybody's realm, whether it be your realm or their realm. Because in order to prepare themselves for more information or to prepare themselves for some type of leap of faith towards you, I feel like they've sought you out in some way. But it doesn't feel like there's a lot of contact here. And what they did see was something to be jealous over. I don't think they like what they saw when they found you online. And not because, again, not because you're not abundant, not because you're not gorgeous, not because they didn't want you, but because of what you have invested in, which doesn't perhaps leave a lot of room for growth for this connection. Here the Two of Wands. Because in a perfect world, they would make contact with you, but they feel like that would be flirting with some type of disaster in this moment. And so they fantasize about that. They fantasize about what it would be like to communicate with you and to tell you the truth, because they feel like this would be an epiphany to you. They feel like you're completely didn't recognize it. They are convinced that you don't even know anything about their feelings, that you're completely unaware. But I feel like you know completely, because I feel like you're right in the same boat. We have the back of deck with the Three of Swords, and we do have the Nine of Wands. Now again, the focus. is on you. The thoughts of you are here. They're very disappointed in themselves. They're very disappointed in themselves because they fell easily for you, but it hasn't been so easy to take that sword out of the heart space. I also feel like, again, there could be some third-party energies here, so please take that as it resonates. It doesn't have to resonate with you, but it is for someone specific here. They're talking about third-party, perhaps, again, the divine feminine, being invested in a third-party situation at this time, because with the passage of time, we all evolve, we all grow, and we start to explore opportunities. But they don't want to, they're holding back in this moment because they don't want to upset anything that you have invested in. And they don't think that you feel the same way. And again, that's just their subjective experience based on their lack of confidence and feeling stuck in this energy. But that's what they're convincing themselves of. Do they ever think of pile number 1, please? What are some of their secret thoughts? We have here time for a nap, and they keep emphasizing dreams for you. And with this time for a nap, there's an aspect about trying to wait until I gain enough confidence to reveal something to you. But that ended up not being a very logical approach. And I feel like they're still applying that same approach present day right now. We do have new life, number 39. And all that glitters. Number 16, the Tower. We do have the Tower here, which can speak about successful builds with effort, but also about certain builds that have gotten in the way of our connection now that could create a reality check. That's why we don't take our masks off. They definitely put you up on this pedestal. But now I feel like there are other pillars, other institutions that might stop us from really leaping into a brand new day. They do sort of convince themselves that they could have a brand new experience if they had stepped outside of their comfort zone in the past in your connection. We do have no place like home. And there's something about a foundation. You are a part of this person's foundation. And it's like everything that's hanging in the balance. There's a home situation, again, third party situation here, Tower energy. That's why they are holding back. But there's something about you representing the Star of Aquarius, you representing the Hermit's Lantern. So you have influenced this person. So it's not just a singular thought of you, Pile 1. The thoughts of you have influenced this person's behaviors, have influenced their spiritual education almost in some way. Let's take a look at some of their secret thoughts, please, for pile number 1. What sort of secret thoughts that they have crossed their mind regarding pile number 1, please? I think about you when I'm all alone. Do you even remember me? They are convinced that they are completely forgettable. And again, I feel like they've left a huge impression. It's like twin flame energy here. What are you doing right now? So very curious about what you're experiencing, what you're up to. This curiosity, if it hasn't already led them to seek you out online, they might be checking your social media soon. I fell so hard and so fast for you. And still to this day, you make me come alive when I think about you. So you make them come alive when these thoughts float in about you, pile 1. I do feel like I've lost you forever. But the attraction for me was undeniable. And they claim to love you. This feels sort of very innocent. They've learned a lot because of this situation. Lessons perhaps that they don't even necessarily want, but that they have to have. I want you, but I just can't. Back of the deck says, I am so frustrated with myself in this situation. Are some secret thoughts that pile 1's person has had surrounding pile number 1, please? Admire. It's time to think of everything that you admire in your partner. And you'll notice that there's this tattoo on the fingers and there's like this imprint that you've left. It's like a permanent imprint. You've been sort of inked into my experience. It's two people, however, that are anchored to the past or have anchors in the present moment that don't allow progress. You can see that one here, the Divine Feminine, is wearing a wedding ring, so that can relate to any commitment cycles that the Divine Feminine might be invested in. And when I say Divine Feminine versus Divine Masculine, it's all about energy. Whatever you relate to has nothing to do with gender. It's just about abundance. We do have obstacles in this connection and looking for ways around obstacles to find happiness. So this person's thoughts, because they overthink, because they've got themselves to the Ten of Swords, they don't see a path towards you in this moment without having to bypass through the Tower. So they are really focused on the obstacles and what anchors the two of you, because there's this labyrinth and this maze. Even when you feel lost, there's always a way through the labyrinth. So this does not represent a situation that cannot be overcome. But this person lacks the confidence here to even recognize that it was a two-sided connection. And that could affect the momentum moving forward. So let's ask Spirit about that momentum. What can Pile 1 expect as far as revelations or contact in this connection? Connection on their mind. We have the Death energy. You'll notice that this skull doesn't have a bottom mandible. So there's a feeling about it's difficult for us to speak when we don't have that. I just saw the Sun. Now they are speaking here that progress can only be made when something else goes to bed. When something else is put away, that's when we're going to get a chance at a new pathway in this connection, but there's the Tower. So, and the Ace of Swords, it brings us right back to the theme of the reading of the thoughts surrounding you. And the Ace of Swords in this case is kind of like a reality check. It's like we have to deal with the realities of the obstacles, the Tower energy, in order to maintain hope for more in the situation. And in this moment, the confidence just isn't there to create that momentum. But this opportunity sort of still lies in the balance because the energies between the two of you are still present and we're still holding on. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for Pile number 1. What was the very last thought that they had about Pile 1? If they thought of Pile 1 today, what was the very last thought that they had? Queen of Swords energy. You know what they thought about? They thought about whether or not you've thought about them, whether you've considered or reflected upon them. They've wondered if you have considered or thought about them, why you haven't been so passive or why you haven't reached out to them in some way. But of course, there could be a very strong practical reason why you haven't been able to reach out to them. But that's what they were thinking about. It was kind of wishful thinking, hoping that you were sort of plagued by the same emotions as they have been. Ooh, we have a lot of letters in the bowl today, Pile 1. We have a seahorse stuck to the heart chakra here with the nursing cap. So it's like nursing our heart, surrendering. They're talking about motherhood and sort of moving into that stage of life. So please take that as it resonates. That's not for everyone. They're saying that the Divine Feminine actually had to heal quite a bit from this connection. And this person, this Divine Masculine energy is very unaware of that, about the amount of healing that was necessary. Because I feel like it was profound. Here's the Aquarius energy for the Divine Feminine again. W and V. We also have XO, D, Q, and H. And we have the Hanger, so feeling suspended and a lack of clarity between the two of you with the peace sign reversed. We also have Yin Yang, so soulmate energy, but perhaps a relationship that didn't completely form. Pile number 1. That is what I have for you today. I hope it resonates with you. And if it does, please drop your comment below for a chance to win a reading with me. You can also check out my link for Etsy for a personal reading, and that link is below as well. And it does sell out quickly, but I do update the shop daily, so be sure to keep checking back. But I hope you come back here and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Hello, Pile number 2. You were drawn to the red flower or to the Fool card, and this is your reading. Does the person on your mind ever think about you? And if they do, what are some of these secret thoughts that can be revealed by Spirit today? Now, the Fool here is giving me this sense of foundational steps. This person, I feel like, thinks really highly of you and really thought highly of you in the past. And there's a feeling about them wanting to tell you that, wanting to free themselves from that truth, wanting to take a leap of faith. but I feel like they ran out of time, or they just fell short in their confidence. They just couldn't bring themselves to do it. But they are speaking about you being a really strong part of their foundation. And they learned a lot of lessons about empowerment and holding on to it and then leaping with that empowerment. There's also a really strong emphasis on youth. We have the Page of Pentacles starting out your reading, and we are using the Affirmators Tarot for you today. Do they ever think about you? We have the Strength. Leo energy coming through. A lot of actually Aries energy coming through too. We have the World. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We now have the King of Swords, and we have the Two of Pentacles as well. So we're going to put those down as well. Back of the deck, we have the Six of Pentacles. And we have the Moon showing itself as well. So let's clarify as we go forward here. But first of all, there's a bit of a similar message that is coming in from pile number one, because they're highlighting this Ten of Swords and how, you know, logically speaking, the swords are all about thought, and we can't get here unless we have created this rumination, created this habit to get and achieve the Ten of Swords, because this is somebody who has overthought about this connection. And what they are thinking about was what their intentions were. This person has thoughts of you that test their strength even in the present moment, and they are frustrated with themselves because they're like, I was going to do something. They even are holding the to-do list. The boar is a symbol of aggression, but masculine energy that approaches us. And so I feel like they've almost been really hard on themselves or hard on the connection itself as they've processed everything. They are still holding space for this. It's like if they got the opportunity to express themselves, they would take that opportunity. So if they ever saw you or crossed paths with you, they're like, I've got clarity waiting. And I have more strength now than I had in the past. So they've matured. They don't have the same emotional limitations that they did. They have more experience. So they would want to express themselves to you now. They've had dreams about talking with you, and they've had dreams about having a full-fledged conversation where they can go back in time and they can redo the work that was called for them to do. Because now they're kind of consumed with like this more information, seeking out more information, wondering about you. We have the Hanged Man. And I will say too, they're talking about how in the past specifically, they thought about you all the time. It's like you were on, I hear that song, you were always on my mind. But they were sort of in a bit of a victim mentality when it came to actually applying themselves, because they were afraid. They were afraid of being rejected, perhaps. But I just heard you should come down from the cross because we could use the wood. You have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is movement, and so there's a certain amount of maturity that's come in with this person, and with maturity and awareness and experience comes a fuller spectrum of what they missed out on and what they should be focused on today. But there's like a certain amount of slow momentum here. They've aged. They've grown since the beginning of this connection. We have the Hierophant, Taurus energy coming through. Coming through with the Six of Pentacles sort of in limbo, so we're going to put it just like that. They are speaking here about sort of like the karmic wheel, reaping what we've sown. It's like because we didn't take the leap of faith, they know that justice has sort of been served in this present moment. They're not trying to deny that, but they are sort of trying to figure out who's more to blame here. And sometimes they will blame themselves, and sometimes they're like, well, you should have said something, or you should have taken a leap of faith here. They are also, this could also represent karmic relationships as well, and commitment cycles that someone may be a part of. This person may be a part of a commitment cycle in this moment. And I do feel like it's been through their collaborations with others that they've been able to experience the contrast necessary to contrast and compare this connection with other things. That's what's brought them so much more awareness over the situation. We have the Four of Pentacles. And not only do they overthink about you, but they sort of, it's almost possessive. It's like they have a lot going on in their life. They're juggling a lot of responsibilities, but there's something possessive about how they feel about you. It's like this connection belongs to them in some sort of quiet place. I do feel like you guys are living apart. I don't feel like there might not be any contact here. There may have been contact recently online though for someone watching, and this may have come in the past, but I don't feel like that's currently happening. We have the Three of Wands. Back of the deck, we do have Judgment and the Three of Pentacles. And the question that we posed to Spirit today was, do they ever cross your mind, or do you ever cross their mind? Do they ever think about you? And Judgment is a call to thought. It's a call to action where we're overthinking almost because we are judging ourselves. Sometimes through this process, because it takes a while for us to be able to be critically honest with ourselves, we start with the judgment of others. You know, in the collective, we're judging things all of the time. And the purpose of the human condition is to ultimately, with time, with awareness, with experience, learn how to not do that and learn how to sort of sit with our observations just as they are. But we're not there yet. We're all evolving, but we're not there yet. And so this person's working on it. They're still working on it. And they're actually really lamenting the steps they didn't take, because this anteater is sucking up all the work, all the actions that they didn't take. And that's what they reflect about the most. You do represent someone that they feel like could have slipped through their fingers, and they feel like this really could have gone somewhere. And they wonder about that outcome now. It doesn't really serve them. It makes them feel sort of unfulfilled to wonder about what that could be like. And they really thought that they would find more feelings of emotional abundance and empowerment if they walked away from the opportunity, especially when things didn't really pan out in their favor, but they haven't found as much satisfaction as they wish they had. Did they ever think about pile number 2, and what are some of their secret thoughts revealed, please? They realized that they protected themselves, and that's just hurt them. They realized that their self-preservation actually was not self-preserving at all. They believe that this is an intense, true soul connection that includes great highs and great lows. And I do feel like there are moments when they're very thankful for what they've experienced with you. But though, as I said, there's some moments when they're really hard on the connection itself and on themselves, and maybe even on you, on what they plan to do. But now there are boundaries. Having sensible boundaries are important. Back of the deck says temptation. Think carefully about the situation before you take action. And that's perhaps why we're brought to the Fool's energy as well. They have had consideration or thoughts about communication, reaching out, clarity. They're still holding space for that, but I feel like they're waiting for a moment where everything sort of falls into place. And unfortunately, that may include other foundations, things of that nature. And so it's this persistent delay. Let's get a couple of message cards to see what sort of thoughts they've been having about pile number 2, please. What are some of their secret thoughts that they've had surrounding pile number 2? You don't see it, but I think that you're perfect. And I do look for you wherever I go. Because they think about you so often, pile 2, it's almost like they're thinking they're going to conjure you up. They wouldn't be surprised to see you in the world because you're always in their mind. And perhaps even in their dreams. Can you forgive me? There is something so special about you. This is taking forever. So there's been a really long period of lack of movement, lack of momentum. It's like even this, I was just getting this image of this lion. You can see how kind of plump it is. There's a feeling of them changing, like physically. This is starting to feel like an obsession. And I'm worried that you won't like the person that I've become. They've changed, they've grown. I feel very stuck right now. And I pretend that I don't care, but that's a lie. Back of the deck says, you actually don't know what you do to me. It's like we're not aware of the impressions and the feelings that we leave behind, even when we move into separation. Ooh. We have, I'm planning to surprise you, and we're going to take a look at the future of the connection in a moment to see what sort of action you can expect from this person. What sort of thoughts have they had? Your secret thoughts, please. You will hear from me soon, and I've thought about living together. I've been telepathically communicating with you. So even if there's no contact here, their thoughts that they've had conversations in their dreams, they've had conversations in their mind. You're so different, but that's why I love you. I have an offer for you. They keep speaking about turns of events in their favor, hoping that there can be something more in the future. Thinking about that day too, and thinking about what they would do, what application they would apply. I've been feeling your presence around me. And back of the deck says, I've thought about taking a trip with you. So they've allowed all of this overthinking to really almost build a life of sorts in their mind that does involve you, pile 2. So let's take a look and ask, what can be expected in the future of this connection? What action will this person take towards pile number 2, please? We have the Judgment. We have Judgment as your back of deck. The Judgment is in and of itself a preparation for some type of change, because it asks us to go inward to reflect about the imbalances. We have the 5 of Wands. When they do go inward to reflect upon what they have to do to achieve more clarity or more momentum in this connection overall, they are hit with some hurdles, some jealousies, some insecurities, a competitive energy. We have the Emperor. But they're also speaking about foundations that may be more hollow than we realize, and they're speaking about plans that are being observed below the surface. We have the 8 of Cups. And they're speaking about having to walk away perhaps from another foundation before we can take action, or before action can be taken if there's some type of ending here. And they're watching. Aquarius, Libra, Gemini coming in from the Divine Feminine, keeping tabs on you and watching for a perfect momentum, waiting for the inspiration to strike. So it's like they're waiting for something to close out, or they're keeping their eye on their own environment, waiting to see some type of serendipitous event. They do feel like there's some deep connection here that could create some serendipitous event. And it's like they're ready and waiting when and if that happens. So they would love to see some type of closure, some type of clarity in the very least. But they're almost watching someone in another environment, or they're watching themselves in another environment. There's lots to learn in these environments, but they're waiting for that to close down before any type of momentum happens here, pile 2. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 2. What was the very last thought they had about pile number 2 today in the bowl, please? The Lovers, Gemini, the 9 of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. They are feeling very limited. They don't feel like they have a lot of control in this moment, and they have this crush energy. It's like wishful thinking, but they have to maintain a passive approach because they feel like that's the logical way to go about it, or they're overthinking about the situation. They're also concerned about creating any type of upheaval for you or for themselves when it comes to other relationships. And honestly, this person was really thinking about the wish, the dream that keeps them stuck is this desire for this connection. Because I feel like it limits them from being able to truly focus on the present moment and what they are building. We have here the cactus, and there's 2 flowers on it, so I think about thirst. I will hold you in my heart until I hold you in heaven. And we have the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I do think about Catholicism, and I think about the thorns amidst the roses. So challenges, it's like before I can be thorned, I have to deal with these challenges. And they're speaking about counterfeit crowns and counterfeit thrones. Capricorn and broken heart, the rose of empowerment, and every fair from fair sometimes decline, a quote from A Midsummer Night Dream. And it really speaks about the bloom falling off the rose. So someone who's afraid that your feelings have shifted or changed, that you're no longer feeling the same way. We also have the rolling pin. I always think of domestic energy. I think of like baking cookies and home life. Pile number 2, that's what I have for you today. I hope it resonates with you. Drop your comment below for a chance to win a free reading with me. Be sure to hit your notification bell, your like button, share this video. It helps me to bring you guys more content, and it helps me to notify you if you're chosen the winner. You can also check out my link for Etsy for a personal reading, and that link is below. And I do update that shop every day, but I do sell it quickly, so be sure to keep checking back. You can also check out my links for Etsy, for TikTok. They're all below as well. And I just hope that you come back here and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, pile number 3. You are drawn to the pink flower. You are also drawn to the Justice card, and this is your reading. Does the person on your mind ever think about you? And if they do, what are some of their secret thoughts that they're having? Now, this Justice energy is coming from the Alice in Wonderland Tarot, and there's the King of Cups, the King of Hearts. And he was a very sort of meek little creature in that story, and he sort of followed around his wife. He was a little intimidated by him, and he's holding this great big Justice gavel. And so there's also this big book that's opened up, and they're talking about justice prevailing, because there's an acknowledgement of healing in the heart space from this person, and justice prevailed because they were too passive or because they were too timid when it came to this connection. And because the justice is always about the true version of things, we always reap what we sow. If we put something into a situation, we're going to reap a benefit, or we're going to reap the consequences. And so they do feel like justice has prevailed because they were too passive in some way. And there's a certain amount of healing in the heart space that has to come in regards to that, or because of that. So let's take a look here. I'm going to use the Radiant Tarot for you today to begin. Do they ever think about pile number 3? And if so, what are some of their secret thoughts? Now, you may be relating to this energy. Perhaps you are the one that was too timid and you've been healing here. We do have the High Priestess. A lot of Libra energy coming through. The Queen of Wands. The Sun. Now this card always makes me think of paper mache. And in this case, they're showing me a piñata made of paper mache and somebody who's blindfolded who keeps sort of trying to hit that piñata, but it keeps getting brought away from them in some way. So it's almost like a game being played, or a cat and mouse game being played between the two of you. And they're talking about how the Divine Feminine knew exactly what they were doing or something. And that's not a put down or anything. That's just them saying that there was a flirtation that happened, and there was a little bit of push and pull, a little bit of cat and mouse. And the Divine Feminine was kind of aware of what she was doing. It was like some type of flirtatious, logical approach. We have the Seven of Wands. And I feel like in the moment you were convinced, or the person that was trying to play this cat and mouse game was convinced that this was the route, like this was the way to expansion, that if we just keep flirting back and forth, that eventually they would open up their eyes and they would see the truth and they would act upon your feelings for them. And yet I feel like you were kept waiting, and so there's this frustration that kind of followed. We have the Page of Wands coming sideways. Back of the deck, we have King of Swords reversed. So the Divine Masculine could have been the air energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. Divine Feminine, there's a lot of Leo energy here, but you could also be Aries, or perhaps you don't even have to be a fire sign. But there's Aries, Sagittarius energy coming through as well. Now we have the King of Pentacles and the Magician. Now let's clarify as we go here. Now, there's something like intentional about them holding back too. It's like you may have held back intentionally, they may have held back intentionally, and they're speaking here about a lack of confidence, not using their voice enough. But there's a certain amount of intimidation that they felt surrounding you. We have the Page of Swords. And I just heard the theme for rock and roll high school. So they're speaking about high school, or they're speaking about an educational realm or some type of institution like that. We have Queen of Cups, the Moon, and the Ten of Pentacles. And there's Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, specifically Scorpio energy coming through. And there's a significance surrounding the eyes. So big eyes, beautiful eyes, glasses, something like that. They're talking about how the way that you presented yourself was not a true reflection of your heart space. So you could be fire, but have a lot of water in your chart as well, because you could have a fire sun, but you could have like a Scorpio moon or something, because there's something that you suppressed and it was the truth inside your heart. You thought that the loyalty to this situation was plain as day, or was hidden in plain sight, because I'm hearing that you hid something in plain sight. You thought it was plain as day. You thought they would finally open their eyes and see it. It's like you were waiting for that to happen. And I feel like they were just too intimidated to act. We have the Ace of Cups, and they are speaking about a careful, calculated approach that perhaps the Divine Feminine took, which influenced the approach that this Divine Masculine may or may not have taken. Because now I feel like they just want peace. Like they just want to know whether or not this was two-sided. And they're still reaching for that. The Sun is here. There's clarity here in the center of the reading. And the clarity is that, oh, like this would have brought me abundance. This connection, if I just allowed myself to surrender to it, to push myself, then I would be experiencing more. We have the Five of Swords, but they are saying that there was way too much self-preservation in this connection and some gaslighting that was going on. It's like we were convincing each other that we weren't feeling the same way, or convincing ourselves, and that was just hurting us. It just ended up hurting us more than we would have felt if we had just pushed through the obstacles and been even rejected. It would have hurt less. We have the Queen of Swords. We also have the Five of Pentacles, and we have the Hierophant. And they are speaking about separations and also ascension. So again, institutions were a part of this situation, or schooling perhaps. They're still anchored there in that past. Even though they've made progress practically in a lot of different ways, they're still anchored emotionally there. And the truth is that I feel like both of you are in the same boat. You're both on the same page when it comes to frustrations with yourself and each other about the lack of progress here. And we're going to look into the future to see what type of momentum they might take towards you in the future after a few minutes. But they are highlighting here a curiosity over your experience of the loss. How do you experience it? Do you feel the same way? They have a lot of curiosity about reaching out to you and exploring what's going on with you, and they have for some time, but they've held back because it's almost like they're waiting to see if you're going to fuel your curiosity. There's almost feels like this could have been a friendship or a situationship that didn't really evolve into a romantic relationship, but I feel like it really should have. They are highlighting kind of holding a space for this connection in the present moment, and they're not willing to let it go yet, but they're also not really in a position to come towards you in a real way at this time without creating some type of conflict for themselves. And so that could be why they are hesitating from really fueling the curiosity, because even with this Justice, they could be intimidated to face you even now. They could be intimidated about what would be waiting for them if and when they chose to reach out to you to communicate how they're truly feeling. But you are on their mind. They are just holding on to it. There's something about hidden wisdom codes and sitting upon the information they know to be true. And having to fight through a perception of things just being black and white, because there's shades of gray here all over this connection. But when we're young, everything is just black or white. We don't see the nuances of things. We don't see the full spectrum. Because we don't have the ability, we don't have the experience or the awareness yet. I do feel like they secretly watch you, or you might secretly watch them. This could be a two-sided thing, but the Divine Feminine, I feel like, is watching, secretly watching or seeking that out. Past life energy. We reunite with loved ones over and over through many lifetimes. So an old soul connection, but someone from the past, someone from school or youth. She even has a backpack on. We have dreams, sharing your dreams together and encourage each other to make them reality. And yin yang. And I feel like there was a commonality to your dreams and to the desires of where this would go. But we had to look deeply within ourselves to discover the purpose in our relationships. And I feel like you had to look deeply, they had to look deeply towards you. You had to look deeply towards them to see the truth of how they were feeling and what they were experiencing when they were around you. Let's get some message cards to see what sort of thoughts they've been having surrounding pile number 3, please. What are some of their secret thoughts, please, surrounding pile number 3? They were only 3 little words, but I was too scared to say them. And I think that I've always loved you. I'm afraid to take a chance. And I feel like that's common. I feel like that's the aspect even that's followed them into the present moment. They were afraid to take a chance in the past. They're still afraid. But your laugh is my favorite sound in the world. I'm too afraid that you will reject me. I just saw the last time I saw you, it crushed me. Oh, here it comes again. The last time I saw you, it crushed me. And it will never be over for me. I daydream about you. On the other side it says I'm in love with you, but I daydream about you. And I just saw, I believe our souls are very old friends. I pretend that I don't care. Back of the deck says, am I too late for a second chance? And we're going to get a couple of message cards here to see what sort of thoughts they've been having. And then we're going to look at the future of the connection and see what sort of intentions or actions they may take towards you, pile 3. What are some more of their secret thoughts, please, that they've been having for pile number 3? I wonder if you're even happy without me. I feel in this moment they are holding back intentionally, but we'll see if that's going to continue into the future. I couldn't let you get close to me for fear that perhaps that you would reject them. So many things remind me of you. And these are the consistent thoughts. There's like this truth, this reality that's hit them like this gavel coming down. You and I were too young. It was my fault, but I blamed you. And back of the deck says, I know that I crossed the line with you. I'm so attracted to you. And ultimately, I feel like they didn't cross that line. And I think they're afraid to cross that line today. So let's ask Spirit about the future of this connection. What can pile 3 expect as far as actions or intentions towards them by this person in the future? The Emperor, Aries energy coming through. I don't know why I'm hearing a Bush song, like hollow. And now I'm seeing a scene from The Secret Garden where he's dreaming about the woman that he loves, and she's saying, I'm in the garden, I'm in the garden. So they're talking about memories, fond memories that this person has to suppress below the surface of things. We have the Page of Wands. We have the Page of Wands in their future position as well. But there's a feeling about them waiting for you or waiting for communication from you. 3 of Swords with the Page of Swords. Death energy and the Ten of Swords. I don't feel like this person will be the one to reach out to you, pile 3. I feel like your curiosity might get the better of you, and maybe you will reach out to them, but they're observing something and they don't feel like now is the time to approach, to speak to you. They don't feel like the timing is right in this moment. And they're kind of upset about that. There's a certain amount of over-emotional response to this feeling, but Spirit doesn't want you to put all of your expectations into this person reaching out, because you may just be kept waiting. It feels like they are intentionally holding back, waiting for the Divine Feminine to clear out some clutter, to clear out the cycle, or to make some type of contact of her own. We also have the Knight of Pentacles on the backup deck. And the reason for that could be because of responsibilities in the present moment. Let's get a charm bowl for pile number 3. The very last thought the pile 3 had about their person today, please. 4 of Cups. Coming in reverse, the Page of, or Ace of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords reversed. Now, it's not that they don't have power. It's not even that they feel powerless. It's that they're trying to avoid something. It's like they know that they've learned their lesson, but I'm also feeling like legal issues are an issue, or they're concerned about legal issues, and that's why they don't communicate. It's like they don't want to create any obstacles, any further obstacles here. They're talking about like a lack of support, or expecting a lack of support, you know, really just not experiencing a positive outcome if they reach out to you now. So their last thought was really surrounding watching you, opportunity, wanting communication, wanting to recapture some type of energy from the past, but they need to find a new approach. They need to, without having to deal with tower energies or upheaval. But they're starting to gain a sort of a new outlook or new insight. And it could be because they've kept tabs on you, or they've watched you in some way. We do have here the hammer. I do think about self-sabotage, and half the hammer is red with a red handle. So they're speaking about empowerment, but I perhaps self-sabotage an opportunity for empowerment. We do have addiction to you. We had like this obsession energy, K and Z. And now we have temptation surrounding the Divine Feminine, and we have the Divine Feminine mourning as well. Thinking really highly of this person in mourning. Aries energy is here. And we do have the Queen of Wands, so Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Pile number 3, that's what I have for you today. I hope it resonates. If it does, drop your comment below for a chance to win a reading with me. Be sure to hit your notification bell, your like button, your share button. You can also check out my link for Etsy for a personal reading, and I do update that shop daily, so keep checking back. You can also check out my links for Instagram and TikTok, and those links are down below as well. But I hope that you come back and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day.